Well, joining us right now, the co-founder of Latinos for Trump, Jorge Herrera.
And author J.P. Birnbach, a board member of the Democratic Leadership for the 21st Century. His book is Beyond Reason, Debunking Conservative Lies, Delusions, and Falsehoods, and What You Really Need to Know Before You Vote. So we'll start with you, J.P. You saw some of the back and forth there. People actually counted how many times Kaine interrupted Pence. They say over 70 times. He really went to attack mode. Was that effective?
I don't think it was effective in the event. In other words, I think he came off looking bad, he came off looking aggressive, and Pence was very smooth and affable and plausible as a presidential or vice presidential candidate. I do, however, think that all of those interruptions forced Pence to take some positions, particularly denials of things that Donald Trump had actually said. I think today you've seen, and in the coming days you'll see, a lot of comparisons to positions that Pence took and to some degree was forced to take by Kaine's aggressive tactics that are at odds with the things that have actually been said that are a matter of public record and of which there's video. So I think that it might play off in the long term, even though in the moment it looked a little bit aggressive.
You know, people have been watching this almost like it's a sporting event this year with politics, but obviously the point was to try to lure over some of the undecideds to get them on your side. How do you think your candidate did?
I think Mr. Pence did very well. I think it's a show of decision of judgment how Donald Trump chose Mr. Pence, because he's got a proven record of success. He's done really well for the state of Indiana. Very calm and collected. He knew what he was talking about, had nothing but substance. We saw a lot of distraction, a lot of kind of nonsense from Tim Kaine, a lot of rude, snarky comments toward the moderator. So I think Mike Pence did an excellent job, very substantive. He's got an excellent record, and I think once again shows excellent judgment how Donald Trump will surround himself with excellent people and has excellent judgment, unlike Hillary Clinton, who we saw Tim Kaine look very, very unprofessional.
But then people are saying today, was Pence, by sort of just not avoiding those questions, did he not defend Donald Trump and all the positions that Trump has taken over the course of this campaign, including some of the controversial comments he made? He just basically didn't answer the questions.
I think he defended the positions really well, and what our opponents, they failed to leave out is that Donald Trump never labeled all Mexicans. If you listen to the speech, he said they come from other countries. He also touched on the fact that they come from, Central America, and he also said from the Middle East. So they don't talk about how Donald Trump also speaks very well of Hispanics, how he has created jobs for all Americans with his companies, and he's also created thousands of jobs for Hispanics here in California and all over the country. So, the Democrats really distract with this race issue, this whole Mexican thing, because they can't really run on their record, so they have to distract from the issue that Donald Trump has an excellent record of creating jobs for all Americans, not just Hispanics.
Yeah, let's show you that what you were referring to when Pence talked about that Mexican,
which was heavily tweeted.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
When Donald Trump says women should be punished, or Mexicans are rapists and criminals, or John McCain's not a hero, he is showing you who he is.
Senator, you whipped out that Mexican thing again. Look,
can you defend it?
there are criminal aliens in this country, Tim, who have come into this country illegally, who are perpetrating violence and taking
You want to use a big tar brush against Mexicans?
He also said, and many of them are good people. You keep leaving that out of your quote.
JP?
Well, I would point out that the crime rate among undocumented immigrants is actually lower than it is among the general population. This idea that somehow or other people are coming across the border, bringing crime and making our cities unsafe is nonsense. It's untrue, and it's based on very vicious stereotyping. The fact is that in the cities in this country that have the highest concentrations of undocumented immigrants, the crime rates are actually lower than the national average. That includes El Paso, Texas, which is right on the border. So that's playing into prejudices and anxieties that are out there in the land, but that are actually not at all based in fact.
That's actually not correct, because if you look at the Department of Justice data, we have 38% of all murder convictions in Texas, California, New Mexico, and Arizona, and one other state. 38% of all murder convictions are from illegal immigrants, undocumented people. So I'd like you to tell that to the father of Jamil Shaw and Kate Stanley, who was killed by somebody who was deported 5 times. One murder from illegal immigration is one too many. So your facts, you may be correct, but we are losing American lives to illegal immigrants. And furthermore, we know that the drug cartels and gangs like MS-13 are infiltrating our cities like Los Angeles, Arizona, Phoenix. It's a fact. You can look it up. It's well documented. You have It's not a really good point, but we know that crime is being infiltrated here in the United States from an open border that Hillary Clinton has supported for the last 8 years, 30 years. She hasn't done anything towards immigration the last 30 years. Democrats had control of the House, the Senate, and the White House, and we pushed this Obamacare, which is a complete disaster, and the Democrats dropped the ball on immigration. They had the chance.
Your response?
Well, that's all over the place. The fact is that the towns that you mentioned have lower crime rates than the national average. You can point to individual cases of undocumented immigrants committing crimes, but more crimes are committed by American citizens than by undocumented immigrants. We can pick and choose individual anecdotes to prove any point that we want to make. So the question is, what is really happening across the board, and what are the statistics actually showing that's really happening?
So two wrongs don't make a right, because we know we have a crime problem with American citizens, but because American citizens murder, it doesn't make it okay to have illegals come over here in mass numbers and commit crimes. Texas alone and has seen over 3,000 murders from illegal immigrants alone. So you can't argue that these aren't accurate statistics. We're losing American citizens. These are the things Donald Trump wants to focus on. He says in terms of immigration, we have to get rid of the criminals first, and later we'll negotiate something else for the remaining who broke the law of just crossing illegally. There is nothing wrong with that. I think your facts they're not proving your point here.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there, JP.